Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jamie Lee, and I'm so sorry. This video might be chaotic because I'm literally on 0 hours of sleep. I pulled an all-nighter because I had to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, which is early to me, at least, to go to work. I work at Starbucks, by the way, so very early mornings, okay? I'm a little psycho, but I wanted to film this video because I want to talk about this book. So the book that I want to talk about today really shocked me and really surprised me at how much I really liked it. We were talking about Punk 50... Oops, I'm so sorry. 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 We're talking about Punk 57 today. I am genuinely shocked in the best way possible at how much I enjoyed reading this book and how much I enjoyed this book in general. It did feel a little slow to me at times, but other than that, I was very shocked at how great I thought the writing was, and the plot was really well done. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But first, let's talk about what this book is about. So if you don't know what Punk 57 is about, it is pen pals who've never met each other to enemies when they have met each other to lovers when they find out the truth about each other. I know that sounds very complicated, but I just will tell you, just read it and figure out for yourself what this book is about, because there's a lot of internal things going on, and a lot of side-ish plots and stuff like that I don't really want to get into because I don't want to spoil things. But yeah, if you haven't heard of this book, it's kind of known on TikTok. Oh my god, I need to stop doing that. It's known on TikTok for being a sex book. Honestly, I don't know if I've just been reading way too much Wattpad or reading a lot of smut, but I found the sex in this book to be really vanilla. Like, they just did it. You know, everyone on TikTok is like, oh my god, the truck scene. The truck scene. I'm like, they just did it in a truck. Just like missionary style in a truck. And the only reason why there was some sort of stakes is because there were like people around. And they were like, oh, we can't move the truck. People will know what's going on in here if the truck rocks. And I was like, okay, I think I need to stop with the erotica, because if everyone is hyping this book up for the smut, and I was just like, it's not that smutty, and there was like 5 or 6 scenes in there of smut, I think I'm reading a little bit too much mature scenes. But whatever, I don't care, because that's what I like. But anyways, yeah, so that's what the book is about. The characters, if you want to know the kind of the vibes and like what you're going to get into when you read this book, it is a teen romance, enemies, pen pals, enemies to lovers, you already know that. It's very angsty. And I think you can kind of see that with the cover and even the name. And I had no idea going into it how angsty that this was going to be. It's very much like, oh, like my emotions as like a teenager and stuff like that. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even being in my 20s, I really related to the characters. I related to what they were going through. And I thought the writing was actually very shockingly really beautiful. And I don't know why I'm saying it's shocking. I'm sorry if I'm saying that. And I feel like a lot of teen books or like TikTok books specifically, they'll hype things up that are kind of 50 Shades of Grey-esque, meaning that, oh, there's like a lot of, you know, scenes, but the writing is like 3rd grade material, because that's like 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey, it's like you read it for the story, but the writing's not that great. This had so many lines in it where I was like thinking about it and I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful. This is really great. And also, I really like how Penelope Douglas kind of used music, because one of the characters is a musician. He's a lead guitarist. He writes the music, and he's a vocalist in a band that he's in, like the main character. His name's Misha, and I'll get into his character a little bit more. But I like how Penelope Douglas used lyrics and poetry in that way to move the plot forward, to kind of make this book very beautifully written and kind of make the characters really connect with each other. So let's talk about the characters. So it's a romance, a heterosexual romance. So it's a boy and a girl, and the characters' names is Misha and Ryan. Misha is the guy who is in the band, and he's the lead vocalist, etc., etc. I already explained that. And they're both 17 years old. They've been pen pals. Ryan and Misha have been pen pals since they were in 5th grade, and they have been writing to each other ever since. They feel like they can only confide in each other and feel like they make each other the least loneliest in the world, even though they've never met until the events of the book happen. But for Misha, he's very authentically himself. And with Ryan, also about Misha, he has a like lip piercing, and he has tattoos like all over his body. So you can kind of get a sense of like the kind of character he is. Very angsty. You know what I mean? Angsty vibes. That's what I'm saying. With the piercings and the tattoos, like rock band. You know what I mean? Angsty. So that's kind of a little bit about Misha. He finds out about Ryan, and he hates Ryan because she turns out throughout her letters, she's very deep, she's very emotional, and she's very vulnerable and feels very real. But then you find out that he feels like Ryan's a fraud, because when you get to meet Ryan in the very beginning of the book, she is a complete bitch. She is horrible to the people in her school. She is the school bully. She is the mean girl, and she's the head mean girl. She is the cheerleader. She is the cheerleader, the beautiful cheerleader who pushes people around and bullies people. She's the Regina George, and you do not like her at the beginning of the book. But I love that about her. I love that these characters are flawed and that you see them grow, but also that even if they're flawed, and not growing, you see their internal monologue and why they're doing what they do, and like the internal workings of what it means to be like a bully, and like what goes and how lonely you feel and how much you hate yourself, and that's why you probably do, etc., etc. Very, very way better thoroughly explained in this book than I thought was done in Bully, but I'll get into it a little later. Ryan, let's talk about Ryan. She is, like I said, the head cheerleader, mean girl. And the reason why she is that is because when she was younger, she was bullied herself, and she felt like she was an outcast when she was in like 4th grade. She hated that the people who were popular in grade school were also mean. But Ryan kind of took that when she was in 4th grade, going to 5th grade, and said, I'm tired and sick of being the unpopular kid. Why is it that the meanest people are popular? But the thing about it is that they're respected. The popular people are respected. So she said, screw it, I'm going to be them. And then she does it. And she's pretty powerful in that way. She becomes like the Regina George, you know? And you kind of find out why that is and like the reasoning behind it. But you do realize that she is a coward because she doesn't stand up for other people when they're getting bullied, even though she is not the aggressor. Sometimes it's this motherfucker named Trey. F him. You know, we're not going to get into him. But, he's horrible. Every time even Trey does something to bully other people, Ryan will just stand around and do nothing, you know? And so that's kind of how she is. She's a faker. She's a fake. And that's the reason why Misha and Ryan become enemies once Misha finds out who Ryan is. Like once Misha sees the real Ryan outside of the letters. So the things that I liked about this book. I gave this book a 4.5 to 4.75, somewhere around there, stars out of 5. Crazy. I am so shocked that I loved this. I don't know why I was shocked. Maybe I'm not giving Penelope Douglas enough credit. I just hated Bully. I did not like it at all. I thought it was boring. And I thought this was so much better written than Bully. And I thought the plot was well developed more. I don't know if I already said that. And also the way I already made a video on Bully, but like in Bully, it's childhood friends to enemies to lovers. The childhood friends portion of the story felt lacking. Like they just stated, we used to be so close, we used to be friends, but I never felt that. I never felt that relationship when they were younger. In this book, in Punk 57, you get excerpts of the letters that they're writing to each other, how poetic it is, how much they really need each other, and how much they kind of complete each other. They help each other go through things and like write music. Like, for example, Misha, he is in the band and he cannot write music, and he has never been able to write music without Ryan's help. And it kind of like, you kind of get that sense, of like, that they're kind of meant for each other in that way. And they're the only people who really, really understand each other in the world. And you kind of get that with Ryan. She feels like she's fake, right? Like she's a faker. She's like being this horrible person, even though she knows she's being horrible. She does it anyway because at least she's respected. That's like her whole thing. But in the inside, she really just hates herself. You know what I mean? And that also comes out of the letters. And in the letters, she just wanted to be her best self to Misha. It's really, really deep stuff, man. It's really coming of age, okay? And she felt lonely because when she was a child, she was lonely. And she's just become everything that she hated. This book has intrigue. It has mystery. There's some shocking things that happen, like the side plots. There's side plots about Misha's family, and I read it and I was like, okay. And also the second chapter, I was like, wait a dang minute, no effing way. In chapter 2, something comes out about Misha's family, and I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay, this is where the story's going. Oh, okay. And even though the romance portion of the book is very predictable, I felt like the side plots and the mystery of it was really well done and really shocking. They like I said, developed the past relationship really well. And what I also really liked about this book is that even though, to me, the smut was vanilla, I loved that in most, if not all, of the mature scenes, move the plot along during the scenes. They weren't just inserted in there just because everybody likes smut, They actually moved the plot along. This is different than with Ugly Love. I felt like Ugly Love kind of, even though I liked the backstory of, whatever Miles was going through, if you ever read that book, I felt like with Ugly Love, all of the mature scenes just felt like you could have put them out of order in any which way, and the story would have stayed the same. In this book, you can't really say that. And the story really progresses through those sex scenes too. And you kind of get a hint. It's very tense. The smut is very tense, like they'll say something while they're doing it. And you're just like, it kind of like gives hints to like when the shoe's about to drop, I'll just say that. I thought the plot progressed really well, and they had really great one-liners and great writing that I honestly feel like I would get tattooed on me. I was like, wow, this is a really great line and really relatable and a really good message. And I loved that the characters were flawed. I really, really like that because I think Penelope Douglas puts it in her author's note that we give our heroines in books such a hard time and judge them so much because they're a reflection of us. You know, we want to live through them. And if the heroines in our books don't do what we would have done if we were that character, then we judge them so harshly. And I was like, girl, you are so right about that. That is so correct. And I love how she said that she wanted to make Ryan unlikable, but to understand the reason why she's like that, because as human beings, we are flawed. We're not going to do the right thing all the time. I love that. I just loved it. Also, I like the physical motion of how Ryan is literally a faker and hiding herself. They do this physically with Ryan having asthma. You know, they use asthma as like a physical thing of Ryan hiding who she really is. So no one knows Ryan has asthma, and so when she gets asthma attacks, she literally, it's like life-threatening, and she's like holding her breath, can't breathe, and would rather run to the restroom so that she can use her inhaler. And I really like that kind of visual, so that was great. Also, I'll say some of the one-liners and like the lines that I really like. Oh, I just thought that the way they use the lyrics and music is really poetic. One of them was, most of us have done things, unfair things, in the name of self-preservation. Very on the nose, but true. And another one was, we're all ugly, Ryan. The only difference is some hide it and some wear it. We're all ugly, Ryan. The only difference is some hide it and some wear it. And for Ryan, she wears it. But I really liked that line. I don't know. I get it, you know? Another one that I really like, and I was like, YouTubers need to take notes, you know? Is because, of course, saying you're sorry is easy. Facing the shame is where atonement begins. Because, of course, saying you're sorry is easy. Facing the shame is when atonement begins. And I totally get that, because you can say you're sorry all you want. You can say, quote unquote, I take accountability. I'm taking accountability for this, taking accountability for that. But it's when you let yourself feel shame and really reflect and feel remorseful that atonement begins, you know? And I just love that. I love it. There's so many lines like that that were really great. And there's this really romantic line that was like, even if we'd never been pen pals, we would have found each other still, you know? Because they did find each other, even though they met each other in person and weren't pen pals. So there are so many great lines in this, and I was just like sitting there like, holy shit. Okay, Miss Douglas. Okay, Miss Penelope. Miss Ryder. I did not get this in Bully, but this book was giving that, and I am glad for it. Okay? And I suggest people read this. I really liked it, even though I do have cons. The cons are, of course, this is a taboo romance. It is a toxic romance. The Misha, he is very possessive, and consent is kind of willy-nilly sometimes, but I personally don't care because I read books for enjoyment. If I enjoy it, and the toxicity doesn't go too far and doesn't annoy me, if it doesn't annoy me and I enjoy reading it, I will still eat that shit up, because reading is for enjoyment. It's for fantasy. It is not real. I would not take that in real life. But if I had a man like Misha do the things that he did, I was like, okay, I get it. I would like this man. Even though in real life, I probably wouldn't stand for it. Like, for example, Misha breaks into her house to, like, I don't know if he, like, planned on sleeping with her, but he breaks into Ryan's house so that he can sleep with her. But if someone did that to me, I would have freaking called the cops. First of all, no matter if you guys are sleeping together or have slept together, only once, by the way, at this point in the book. I would have been like, what the hell? This is freaking creepy. I'm calling the cops. But you know what? It's because we know Misha and we know this is a book. That I was okay with it. And that's why I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars, because it didn't give that wholesome quality. It was very angsty and very like boohoo me. But I still loved it nonetheless. I felt like this book, it ends in a satisfying way. Sorry. It ends in a satisfying way, and I feel like Ryan is the epitome, especially by the way it ends, of what I believe influencers nowadays to be like when they were kind of in high school and then became famous. Because Ryan kind of gives that essence, like a little leader, and you always hear like I'm not gonna get into that, but just scratch what I just said about that. But yeah, I give it a 4.5 to 4.75 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. It was really greatly written. I don't know if I'll read or continue to read Penelope Douglas books because I didn't like Bully, and even though I'm okay with toxic and taboo romances, I don't know if I can do age gap, which I know Penelope Douglas does well. To me, the sex scenes in this weren't, getting me going super much. So I would just read it for the story, okay? And yeah, a lot of her books are kind of the age gap thing, and like I don't know if I can do some of the toxic romances that she writes about because I just don't know if they'd be my style. This was definitely my style because it gave that like enemies to lovers, but also they were the same age, and it was very relatable and angsty and very character driven and in the character's thoughts. So I liked it. I thought it was great. I will probably reread this sometime years from now, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you've ever read this, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Oh wait, before I go, let me give a sneak peek to the next book I'm reading because I already started it and I freaking love it. I love it because the Raylo and me, you probably already know once I said Raylo, you probably already know what book I was gonna read. But I already read the first, right after I finished Punk 57, I couldn't fall asleep, pulled an all-nighter. I read the first 2 chapters of this. I am on chapter 2. And I love it already. I love it! Because it just has it starts out really good and really cute. And I feel like I kind of know where the story's going to go, but at the same time I don't. I love me a good rom-com. And I love a Raylo. But anyways, that review will probably be in the next couple of days because I know I will eat that book up. I will eat that shit up. Okay? So, see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.